Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today going over 8 vocal tips for better performances. And I'm also going to be recording a podcast at the same time. It will be episode number 54. I'll let you know whenever we get into that. When we do get into that, I won't be as mindful of the comments as I normally am. However, afterwards, I will definitely leave enough time to come back and answer any questions or anything like that we normally do on here. What we're going to do too is if you have any questions when this is all said and done, whether it be about vocals or anything, I'm going to go ahead and leave it open-ended. And then whenever the podcast is officially over, I'll say, all right, guys, we're going to come back and we'll answer all the questions. And we'll just have some general camaraderie like we normally do. If this is your first time here, awesome to have you. I see several people who are here who are always here. And then some people who are here sporadically. But I'm going to give a big shout out to all of you. Country T, nice to see you, buddy. Dave Prentice Music, good to have you. And of course, Micah is here. He's a mainstay of the channel. Mark George, good to see you, buddy. And congratulations, by the way. Bop's Studios is here again. 24 Kilo will get you life, Bop Studio. That is for sure. So good to see you all. For those of you who have not commented yet, but you're still in the chat and you're kind of like stalking around or whatever, you guys can do that. That's cool. But leave a comment to let me know that you're actually here. And before this is all said and done, at the end of the show, at least before the end of the show or at some point during the show, leave a comment in the comments section here in the chat and let me know, like, if you had an aha moment, if you learned something today. I want to know if you actually learn something. That's the main thing about having these, is learning stuff, forming a community, all of us getting together, hanging out, having a good time. And so that's what we're going to do today. However, if you are here and it is your first time, I don't see any first timers in the chat, but that doesn't mean that they're not still hanging out. Let me make you aware that this channel exists to simplify the complexities of the home studio and to help you make professional sounding music in a less than professional space. The motto around here is that we can dream alone and we can create alone, but together we can achieve so much more. And we have seen that over the last few weeks and months. We have seen a lot of cool stuff come out of this channel, come out of the individuals who have submitted songs, just the general collaborations that have happened, the friendships that have been made. There's just been a lot of cool stuff that's happened because of this. Tim Consley is here. What is up, Tim? Good to see you, buddy. So before we get into the width, the breadth, the height, the depth of all of this, let's give a big shout out to our chart toppers as well. These are individuals who keep the lights on, so to speak. On the left-hand side, you're going to see what they have donated through the generous super chat feature, which you'll find in your chat. Whether you're on your mobile or you're on your desktop right now, there's a small little S in the bottom right-hand corner of your chat, which will allow you to donate a small portion all the way up to a large portion. But anything that is donated is much appreciated. You can just drop that in the chat. It goes through Apple Pay or PayPal or however you have it set up. It's completely safe. You don't have to worry about your money getting jacked. I don't get any information from that. All I get is just your generous donation. By doing that, also, whoever donates through the super chat, as usual, will always get a freebie from me at the end of the show for whatever amount that is donated. On the right-hand side, you'll see that there are also some Patreon symbols on James Sheets, Pirate Beats, Dave Ryan, VST404, and the Honorable Mark George. And these are individuals who have decided to sponsor me monthly through the Patreon account. So thank you guys so very much. I am just humbled and amazed that you guys would place enough stock in me to give me a small kickback every month for the work that I'm doing here. Thank you all so much. Everyone on this chart is just simply amazing. Love each and every one of you. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to talk about. Before we get into that, though, I'm going to go ahead and go to the live chat comment screen and see, it did it again. It did this last time. That's what I love about live stuff. Let's see if that worked. No, it didn't work. what's been happening with the chat thing here lately. I'm not really sure what's going. It's like it's not. Oh, wait a minute. There it goes. See, that's what it does. And then it's like, oh, and everything pops up on the screen like a madman. So, okay. Anywho. So for those of you that are just coming on, he is, yes, he is honorable. For those of you that are just coming on, we are going to be recording a podcast episode today at the same time that we're doing this video for the tips and tricks on the vocals. So bear with me. When we get through the podcast, we'll sort of open it up and have more of a, what's up, Country Tea? We'll have more of an open-ended sort of, well, like what we normally do around here. But until then, it's going to be kind of cut and dry. I'm going to be recording this podcast, and basically you're going to get to see on your side of it, on the video side of it, exactly kind of what goes into making a podcast. I have notes here that I'm going to be following by. Not going to get married to them, but I'm going to follow them. And then I'm also going to, I noticed that there's 10 viewers, or 9 viewers, I'm sorry, and only 3 likes. Like this video, y'all. If you are here and you have not liked the video yet, give this video a like. Give it a big old thumbs up. Smash that like button. That's what all them kids are saying nowadays. Little whippersnappers. All right, so anyway, we are going to go into the podcast now. So like I said, it's going to get a little cut and dry. I'm not going to be paying as much attention to the chat feature until the podcast is officially over. When it is, though, I'll be open to taking questions, and we'll just jump right back into where we left off. So I think I've got it all set up on my end. And what's up? It looks like we have a newcomer. James, what is up, buddy? Nice to see you in here, man. So in case you're just coming on, James, we are getting ready to record a episode of the podcast, and then we're going to be taking some live Q&A. So just sit back and enjoy yourself. We're going to be talking about 8 vocal tips for better performances. And I have a incredibly large truck going by, so it's probably a good thing I didn't just start that. Okay, so let me hit the record button here. You are listening to the Home Studio Simplified podcast. Welcome back, my fellow fader finaglers, to the Home Studio Simplified podcast. This is episode number 54. Today's topic: 8 vocal tips for better performances. All right, welcome back, my fellow fader finaglers. It is so good to have you here. Each and every one of you are a blessing to me and to the community. This is a normal podcast. The only problem is that we are doing it as a video as well. So if you hear me talking back and forth between the chat, or you hear some things that are in reference to a video, and you're listening to this on the podcast in Apple iTunes or wherever you might listen to your podcasts, that's why it's going to kind of sound a little wonky at times to you. However, if you would like to view this in its video format, you can always head over to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/C/Home Studio Simplified, all one word. All right, so in episode 54 today, we're going to be talking about 8 vocal tips for better performances. But first, by way of announcements, we just closed the August edition of the HSS Song Contest. We have one of these monthly now, and Mark George came out on top as the winner. Although it was incredibly hard, I have to say, to choose a winner, Mark's song, The Other Side of Sound, was picked due to its arrangement, its clarity, and its balance, as well as the interest that it generated even as an instrumental piece. You can hear the song and listen to the comments on it at the link that's provided in the description of the podcast and in the description of the video. We actually went over all of the songs during that video, so you can check out all of the submissions too and see my feedback on those as well. Now, on to the next edition. The September edition of the HSS Song Contest is in full swing, and the guidelines for the contest are as such. The work that is submitted must be original, non-copyrighted work. No lewd lyrics or vulgarity is allowed. 1 submission per entrant. The file submission needs to be in a .wav or .mp3 file, and the deadline for this, for submitting your song, is September 25th. Sorry, I almost said 21st. September 25th. Now, you can upload your songs at the link that is provided in the description of the podcast/video. And why would you want to upload a song? You might be asking yourself, why would I want to get involved in a song contest? Well, the main purpose that I started the song contest was to inspire musicians to release more music and to generate interest in others' music. It's not just all about us here. It's all about expanding and creating this community. And so other than just creating a channel all about my own music or what I'm doing in my own studio, I wanted to help showcase those individuals who have taken time out of their lives to subscribe to me and who hang out here every single week as we do these live shows. So apart from that, you also get insight and constructive dialogue from a professional standpoint on how you can actually improve the song that you've submitted. So every song that gets submitted, I go through it and I listen to it. We all listen to it rather live. And then I give just some real brief mixed critiques on things that I feel like you could do to make the song better. And now that we're just a few months into the HSS Song Contest routine, this segment of the channel has actually taken a life of its own. The community that it has created and the feedback that has been generated from within the community is absolutely amazing. There have been collaborations, there's been friendships and professional connections made as a result of the contest, and so many have claimed that they have learned more and more every single time around, and that's really what it's all about. Now, the song that is chosen as the winner also receives a free mix and master from yours truly from the winning entry, and the results are shared on the channel to help everyone benefit from knowing what actually went into it. So here just momentarily, within the next week or two, I'm actually going to be mixing and mastering Mark George's song, and I'm going to showcase on the channel what I did to take it to the next level. He sent me a bun file as he works in Cakewalk as well. So all of that is just going to pull up on my side seamlessly, and then I'm going to record it and show you guys exactly what I did to take it from here to here, which is already at a really good starting point. So it's probably not going to take too much, honestly. So that's definitely a plus and a positive there. So the other aspect of this community that we're forming is what I'm calling, at least for right now, the HSS session players. So from time to time, I'm asked to help out on a project, or I need some instrumentation for personal client work or even my own personal work. Now, while I can play bass, I'm not a bassist. In fact, when I pick up a bass, I usually just sound like an angry guitarist trying to squeeze a solo in there. With that said, I am creating a list of session players that I can call on to work on projects. And if you'd like the opportunity to work on some projects and collaborate with other like-minded musicians, feel free to sign up for that as well. And now for the next portion of the show, this is the portion that we call the ear to the ground. This is the portion where we showcase 3 free plugins every time that we do this, and we also talk about music industry and things that have just came up within the music industry.
This is the ear to the ground. The Ear to the Ground is the segment of the show where we discuss audio-related news, new product releases, and take time to showcase 3 free plugins that can help you make better music in your home studio.
Every guitarist knows that becoming a better player takes lots and lots of practice. Positive Grid's Spark amplifier is a Bluetooth-connected practice amp/speaker packed with features including tons of onboard effects, over 10,000 to be exact, and a nice assortment of in and out ports, dual speakers, and a wealth of panel controls and presets. You're going to be hearing in the background now just a little bit of an example of what you can do on this. Now, it gets better, though, because with Spark's free companion app, you can play along with the tunes that you stream through the amp and have your mobile device display which chords to play as you go. Or you can have the app lay down an accompanying drum and bass track for you to jam along to. The Spark mobile app for Android and iOS gives you access to a massive library of amp models and effects that lets you emulate the sound that you get from classic tube amps, acoustic amps, bass amps, and other types of amplifiers. You can also create customized effects using virtual pedals for overdrive, a noise gate, delay, modulation, and reverb, or you can access Positive Grid's bias-powered tone library that contains more than 10,000 amps, effects, and presets that lets you mimic the guitar tones of your favorite players, such as Jimi Hendrix, B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and many others. If you're a guitarist and you're looking for an affordable mobile rig to practice with at home, at work, or even on your commute, the Spark may be the very solution that you're looking for. Now, I am not sponsored or endorsed in any way, shape, or form by the Spark or Bias Effects. I'm just bringing this to your guys' attention because honestly, I think it could be a really cool jam tool. Let's take a little listen to just what it can do here. Okay, so coming up next in this portion of the Ear to the Ground, we always cover 3 free plugins before we get into the meat of our subject. So Greg Lyons, if you stick around for just a little bit longer, we are going to be going over the 8 vocal tips. I am recording a podcast as it stands, and so therefore, right now I'm going to be talking about 3 more free plugins. So the first plugin that I want to talk about is Temper. This is a very, very cool plugin that I had just recently found out about, and I think you're going to find that this is definitely something cool as well. This is a saturation plugin. Now, Temper is more than just a saturation plugin. Temper is a modern digital distortion plugin that's featuring a rich saturation stage and a unique phase distortion. You can use the variable saturation curve to add warmth and edge to your sound and let the phase distortion bring character and clarity through your mix. Temper also features a simple resonant low-pass filter and feedback path to drive the intensity of the tone. You can watch the video that I have for the Temper demo in the description of the podcast or in the description of this video. If you'd like to go and download that, of course, it's free, like all of the 3 free plugins that we showcase here on the Ear to the Ground. Okay, so the next plugin that we're going to talk about is the Alter Ego. Now, this is really cool. When I first stumbled upon this, I thought this is just too good to be true. Alter Ego is based on the award-winning technology featured in Chip Speech, but instead of targeting vintage voice technology, it focuses on more modern, like 1990-plus, singing synthesis algorithms and research. It is specially tailored for musical needs. Simply type in your lyrics and then play on your MIDI keyboard. It's a true synthesizer. The sound can be extensively modified for easy and expressive performances. Literally, you can type in anything that you would like in this. It will map to your MIDI keyboard, and then you can actually sing the song with your keyboard or add all kinds of different flair as you go through the different notes. So definitely very cool and free, something that would be worth kicking around anyway. I mean, who knows where you would use it on or how you would use it, but I'm sure, especially if you're an electronic producer, it would definitely come in handy. The next plugin that I want to talk about is called the Drift Maker. Now, in case you didn't notice, I really like saturation plugins, but the Drift Maker is a delay disintegration device that parses incoming audio, recalls certain parts, and adds analog deterioration to the signal. So it's more than just a saturation plugin. It's almost like a delay slash chopper slash you just have to listen to this thing. Yet again, the link to this particular free plugin and to all of the plugins that we've talked about are going to be in the description of the podcast as well as the video. These are all free. I would definitely recommend them if you want to get some great sounds added into your soundscape. I think the Drift Maker is going to be one that I integrate into some of the ambient music that I create. It definitely sounds very cool on some washed out reverby type sounds. All right, so here we are. We're going to go into our main thought today, which is the 8 vocal tips for a better performance. So let's go straight into tip number 1, and this is probably going to cause a little bit of a riff in the chat, but that's okay, especially coming from who it's coming from. Some of you are probably going to be like, but Robert, what are you talking about? Consider using auto-tune. Now, I know. The name auto-tune can have what some people would consider to be negative connotations. The artificial robot voice style that is popular in some genres is widely unpopular with other people. But the truth is that modern auto-tuning software is capable of far more subtle vocal correction than simply turning your voice into a robot. For a start, it's variable, meaning you can apply a little or a lot, and then there's micro-pitch controls, formants, and other smaller tweaks that can take individual notes or even whole clips and pull them to where they need to be without actually sounding like they've been processed. Antares is at the forefront of these kinds of tools, but there's also Melodyne, which Melodyne Essential comes stock with Cakewalk by BandLab, and DAWs like Cubase and Logic have very powerful built-in tools as well, and used with care, they can rescue almost any vocal. So, with that being said, don't hate on me yet, because I know I'm not a big fan of auto-tune or anything like that, but I love the natural sounding. But however, I have to say that 90% of most vocalists today have auto-tune on them. Like nearly everybody has auto-tune, even if it's just a little bit. And I think that's the thing that I want to drive home here is auto-tune doesn't have to be used for that Cher type sound or for that T-Pain type sound. You can literally use it just to sort of smooth out the rough edges of a vocal. Now, in my personal opinion, this has to be genre specific. So if you're working in a genre that's like rock or pop or punk rather, punk or rock or punk rock, then obviously auto-tune is not going to be the best thing for that because it's already geared to be a very raw style of a genre. So you don't want to necessarily use auto-tune on something like that. However, if it's pop, folk, or ballad type music, absolutely throw a little bit of auto-tune on there and help to get those vocals massaged just a little bit. Don't make it sound, robotic or crazy, but you can actually use this to benefit and get better vocal performances. All right, tip number 2 is, and this is kind of a no-brainer, but a lot of people don't think about this, but warm up. Now, there is something that you can do to help your performance at the very source, regardless of any processing that may come later in the chain, and that is warming up. Professional singers have all kinds of techniques and routines that they use to keep their voices in shape and prepare before recording takes. You don't necessarily have to go as far as copying them, but singing a few scales, regulating your breathing, and making sure that you're hydrated before starting will all help you to nail a better performance than if you just turn up and begin. Now, with that being said as well, when it comes to water, don't drink incredibly cold water whenever you are getting ready to do a vocal performance. In fact, it is definitely recommended that you drink warm, lukewarm, like room temperature type water. And the other aspect of that is what you eat before then too. Don't eat pizzas or anything that's like going to cause acid reflux or heartburn, because then when you step to the mic, you're going to have to push back, gastric bypass, crazy stuff that's going on. So the best thing that you can do is to try not to eat anything too heavy before you begin your vocal performance. Warm up with whatever feels comfortable to you. Don't overdo it. And then obviously as well, just make sure that you're keeping hydrated with some room temperature, warm water, or even tea. It's also generally not recommended to drink anything hot. I personally, I love drinking coffee before I sing, but it's not recommended. But I still drink coffee like a champ. So, all right. So tip number 3, generate some harmonies. Now, you can bolster a vocal performance by adding harmonies, but you may not be confident in singing them yourself. The good news is that there are several ways to do it in software. Cakewalk is one DAW that has a tool for doing just this. And any tool or plugin that lets you pitch shift audio without changing its speed, and for instance, most DAWs these days, They can be utilized to create harmonies on a new track. However, simply pitch shifting a clip to use as a harmony may not only sound great, so it's better to get access to individual notes so you can truly control the way that they interact in your main vocal melody. Synchro Arts Revoice Pro 4 is another very powerful tool. I guess I could call it a toy too. I'm sure it's fun to work with for working with the pitch and the timing of vocals. Another great one, obviously, is the Melodyne. And yet another great one is Videklang. I'll have to do it. I've never done a demo on that or shown you guys how it works. It's absolutely amazing, though. It lets you just vocal harmonize like crazy, break it up into different chords and triads, and just it's nuts. I can't remember if I got it for free or if it was like a package download deal or something. I know I didn't get it for review. Anyway, I'll have to show you guys this at some other point because it is absolutely awesome. It's a very CPU intensive, but man, it creates some very, very good stuff. So with all that being said, generate some harmonies to create a little bit of excitement. And also, if you don't feel comfortable singing them yourself, maybe even have another person, a friend of yours that can sing, just come back behind you. And they don't even necessarily have to sing a harmony like at a third or a fifth. If they just sing the same thing on the same key that you've sang it on, just sometimes that different vocal doing something different will make a huge difference. Imagine that. The other thing is to use dedicated vocal plugins. So recording while monitoring through software insert effects is much less of a hassle these days with computers that are powerful enough to operate at very low latency, or indeed interfaces with onboard DSP and direct monitoring available. But it's usually advisable to record a vocal clean and then add processing afterwards so that it can be tweaked and edited in the most flexible way possible. Specialist tools like iZotope's Nectar provide a multitude of controls tailored specifically to vocals like breath control, saturation, de-essing, and even more. Waves also makes some excellent vocal processors, and if you don't want to spend too much, you can use your DAW's bundled plugins to make a chain and combine things like EQ, compression, de-essing, and saturation into a ready-to-use preset to apply to your vocals. Now, within Cakewalk by BandLab, there is also the ability to create these chains as fully customizable, and they're just at arm's length. You can always grab these presets, these plug-in chains, and it's really cool too because you can set up a user interface, you can name them different things, you can have knobs to control 3 different things at once if you'd like. There's just so many cool things that you can do with those within Cakewalk by BandLab. So they have a ton of use. Tip number 5, and this kind of goes along with this, but consider software-generated accompaniment. Now, if you're not happy with your own performance, and it's always an option to get someone else in to sing for you, at times that's not possible. But if that's not a possibility, you could look at software-generated backing or even lead vocals. Instruments like East-West symphonic choirs, Hollywood backup singers, Voices of Soul, and Voices of Opera use something called Word Builder, which is a technology that lets you type in text and then the instruments recreate it using its sample library. Yamaha's Vocaloid is another virtual singer and lets you build up authentic sounding vocal parts from a large library, bypassing the need to actually sing it for yourself. Now, yet again, you're using computer generated things, you're using sample based things, so it's not going to sound as spot on as a real singer would. However, if you're in a pinch or you're looking for something stylistically as an approach, this is definitely always something that you could reach for. All right, so tip number 6 is to process more. Not necessarily just the kinds of processing that you would ordinarily do, like adding compression and reverb, but consider more weird and wonderful options. For instance, a vocal that is perhaps lacking in body can be run through all kinds of effects to change the way that it sounds, including even guitar effects, delays, lo-fi effects, and much more. It's true that this approach might not suit a pop single, for example, but for many other genres of music, it can help to blend a vocal into a track in interesting and yet unusual ways. Since plugins are all virtual, you can always experiment and try to get a few things. Undoing them later, if you decide to do that down the line, that's just fine and everything's all right. Another option is to use guitar pedals. A lot of people overlook this because they think, guitar pedals and DAWs, they don't blend well. However, there's some people who have ditched their outboard gear and they use only guitar pedals now, which is a super cool idea. In fact, I've been tossing around the idea, mixing and working with a few things even here in my home studio. And I've got some really good results by adding pedals to my chain, such as delays and reverbs. So it's definitely always an option. Tip number 7, and this one cannot be overlooked, is to learn mic technique. This is huge, folks, especially for people that you bring into the studio that are not used to singing into a mic that may be like a condenser mic. The way that you interact with a microphone can have a big impact on the way that a vocal is recorded. Obviously, to begin with, you'll need a decent quality studio microphone and recording environment that is soundproofed or at least as reasonably as you can make it. Now, if you find it necessary to move closer to the mic because your vocal projection isn't so strong, you need to mitigate the proximity effect by then making sure that you have at least one pop shield and possibly even 2 very close to the mic. Some mics also have internal pop shields, such as the one that I'm using now, the SM7B, though every vocalist should really own an external one as well, if not 2. It's also vital to maintain a consistent distance from the mic while singing. Around 6 to 8 inches is ideal. It's recommended, but this will depend on the power of your voice as well. Moving around while singing will affect the recording level too, so be mindful of that and make sure that if it can be avoided, to avoid it, if at all possible. Now, another thing that goes into this and has to be said is if you hand somebody an SM57 and you want them to sing into that, or an SM58, and they want to sing into that, especially if they're more of a domineering type singer, the whole cupping your hand over the top of the microphone while you're trying to sing into it, it just don't work. If you want good quality studio vocals and you don't want to have to go back and do a ton of stuff to try to make them sound good, get your hand onto the handle, which is what it's for, and not onto the grill, because you're going to be damaging your vocals in the long run. So the last tip today, I know these have been kind of quick, but you can always go back and check these out again. But the last tip, and this is so very important, is to sing like nobody's watching. Tip number 8, sing like nobody's watching. So for a less experienced vocalist, singing live into a mic, even in a studio, can make them feel at times self-conscious. It's natural to be a little bit nervous, but it can also affect the quality of a performance. You might find that clearing the room of people, the control room, if you're in a studio, can even help you with this. You may need to keep the engineer around to stop and start recording, but they could also set a loop around the track and activate recording, and then you could actually try several takes in a row, all without anyone else ever being around. Now, I have used that very tip in my home studio. I had a young lady who came into the studio to sing, and she was not very comfortable in her own skin. She has an awesome voice, but she just doesn't feel comfortable singing around anyone as of yet. And so within Cakewalk, there's the awesome feature to hold the shift button and press L. And I would simply highlight the section that I wanted it to loop on. And I would hold shift L, which means now it's going to loop on that section that I've highlighted. I would set the recording style to comping, hit the R on the keyboard, and literally walk out of the room and say, when you've got 5 takes, knock on the door, let me know, and I'll be back. Then I would come back. 5 takes would be nailed. I would have all of my vocal comp takes in usually within 30 to 40 minutes, instead of sitting in here and trying to coax the individual into, oh, you're great, you're grand, you can sing, don't worry about me, just put me out of your mind. It's just so much easier to just hit record, put it on comp, and leave the room. Now, there are times where that kind of backfired. I hit record, I left the room, and then Cakewalk crashed. That only happened once in I don't know how many years. So it's not like a reoccurring issue. It wasn't a big deal. Really, it wasn't. They only went through one vocal take. And luckily, because of Cakewalk's autosave feature, it actually saved the vocal take. So with that being said, everything was fine, but there are things that can arise that you have to take into account with that as well. So this is going to be the conclusion of the podcast today. Remember that Home Studio Simplified exists to simplify the complexities of the home studio and to help you make professional music in a less than professional space. We can dream alone, we can create alone, but together we can achieve so much more. If you guys have any kind of vocal tips that you would like to add to this, please leave them in the description of this video or send me something here through the podcast app. Either way, if you learn something, also let me know that as well. All right, y'all, the podcast recording is done-ski. So now we're opening back up the chat. Oh, I'm going to stretch and finally take a drink of this coffee. Seen some other individuals coming on board. Nice to see you. It looks like I had Audio Sound Doctor. I believe this is his first time being here. And one thing that we like to do for all of our first timers is just give them a good crowd cheer. Welcome back, Audio Sound Doctor. If it's your first time here, awesome. If not, then I just played that for no reason. So, or I just wanted an excuse to push that other button. Who knows? So, I'm going to be scrolling back up through the chat section here to try to see if I missed anything. I don't want to miss your guys' comments or questions if you had any. Let's see here. Tim Consley, is my buddy Diz here? Yeah, I haven't seen him yet. Let's see. All right, so it looks like James. James, maybe I missed that on the conversation, but it says you just got yours a few months, 7 months. It took 7 months, but well worth the wait. What was you talking about there, buddy? I think I missed it. I'm trying to go back up and see what I missed. Oh, I missed so much because of this. See, I really love being in the chat. Gregory Lyons, I'm not sure if you're still here, buddy, but I hope you got something out of the podcast today. He got on here and was like, leaves in a huff, harumph. MJ did that with Slash years ago. Bye. What's he talking about? Well, Gregory Lyons, if you're still here, sorry that I didn't move along at a pace that was good enough for you. I'll try to do better next time, buddy. If you are still here. If you're not, well, sorry, man. Anywho, let's go back down here. Yes, that is actually, Zave, you are correct. That Spark amp, there is a amplitude download for that is the Slash sound, and it actually sounds pretty decent. So, Mark George says he's tried to download the Ultra Ego and can't seem to work it out. That stinks. Evan Wilson says, I want to recut the vocals for the song that I'm submitting this month. There you go. Zave says, I know EVH played on Beat It, but I think Slash played on the Michael Jackson track also. I'll have to Google it. Very Audio is awesome in Cubase. Country T, are you a Cubase user? That's kind of cool. Get used to Audio. Auto Melodyne is out there. Yeah, definitely Bop Studios. It's everywhere. There isn't a famous singer not using pitch correction. They just won't admit it. Exactly, Zave. Nail on the head. Even when vocals are tight, sometimes Melodyne adds a bit of character. Exactly. Definitely. Country T says, I like to have the singer do multiple takes, take one verse at a time as well as a chorus. Yes, very good, very good. I know the option to do compositional recording, or comp recording as they call it, in Cakewalk is absolutely amazing. And like I said, you can just layer vocals on top of vocals and then just pick the best parts of each one, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, there are times where it also kind of extracts that humanistic element, because then you have all of this perfection when sometimes a song really just calls for that raw take. Zave says, check out Mike from Creative Sauce on how to thicken vocals in Cakewalk by BandLab. Before Mike ever created that video, I would definitely suggest checking out Warren Hewart's video on that first and foremost, because he's the one that actually came up with that. Mike did a good job on covering it in Cakewalk. But honestly, the Bop Studios is leaving. Sorry, buddy. Good to see you, man. Yeah, Mike did a good job on covering that in Cakewalk by BandLab, but honestly, the way that Warren Hewart covered it, he made it to where it'd be applicable to any DAW. But I think he honestly went into a little bit more in depth on it, whereas Mike was just kind of, in my opinion, he just kind of skimmed over it, really. I do have something here on my channel as well as, which I think was called vocal. I think I've got one called vocal thickening, but I don't use the same thing. I use saturation and I blend it in. I love saturation, in case you didn't notice that. All right. Doubling the vocals is nice, says Micah. Absolutely. Especially for the chorus. Just let that bloom in there on the chorus. Nice. All right. Okay, so now I'm finally caught up in the chat section over here. I think. I'm seeing more over here than I am. Oh, that's weird. Oh, there we go. Okay. Can you download extra track icons from anywhere for Cakewalk by BandLab? Yes. Actually, you can use pictures of your kids if you'd like, as long as they are in the right format. So. Hey, Bop Studio. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate that. Make sure that you message me at homestudiosimplified@gmail.com. Message me and I will send you a freebie for that super chat. So thank you so much. Oh, wow. I missed quite a bit here. Okay. Thank you guys so much for all the well done, sirs, and thanks, Roberts, bravos, and nice voice, Robert. Awesome. So James, aka Jibjavb, Jibjavb. I'm sure that means something. I heard Aretha Franklin used to eat chicken prior to recording vocals. Also, the recording studio had to turn off air conditioning. She wouldn't sing with the AC on. Wow, I have not heard that before. That is cool. Some chicken sounds really good, by the way. I love me some fried chicken. The thing about the AC, though, that brings up a good point. That's actually a really good point. It is actually beneficial to turn off the AC or fans. I know a lot of singers get hot when they're singing. It's okay to have a little bit of air movement, but don't have a fan blowing right on them, because it will dry out your vocal cords bad. And it's horrible. You can't get that back. There's no amount of water you can drink to get that back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And like Micah's point here, it's very noisy too. So Andre Schnittke, I think he's a newbie. Let's give him a good crowd cheer here. Welcome, Andre. Nice to see you here, buddy. This is your first time here. I don't believe I've seen you around before, so awesome to see you here. Mark George says, I'll have to send you another bun file. I didn't realize you wanted the song from the contest. LOL. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the song that wins from the contest is the one that gets mixed and mastered for free. And then that way, what I do is basically I get to see, instead of just giving you a verbal sort of critique, you actually will get a video as well of an in-depth critique and what I did to make it better. So then you can go back and, or, you know, try to make it better, to polish it up a bit. And then you can go back and kind of recreate what I did, and you'll be able to see exactly what was kind of happening on the back end. And the main thing about that too is just mindsets. Like, what is a person thinking when they hear this, and how do they get it from point A to point B? Not necessarily always what plugins are they using and what knobs are they turning. And sometimes it's just about like, what was their mindset? I think that's awesome. So practice your lyrics before recording. Definitely. Spark guitar amp, exclamation point. Yes, I would love to have one. I'm thinking about reaching out to them and seeing if they would send me one for review. That's worth trying. Slash played on Black or White. That was a good song too. I know Lukather did on Jackson. I don't know what Britney Spears drinks before a vocal take, but it doesn't work. Xavier, a nut. Regarding evening the room, I always do. I just tell the artist, just hit the space bar. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right on. Oh, I see. You were correct. I thought you were leaving. So I was like, hey, see you later, Bop Studios. And you were correcting your spelling. Okay. Can you download extra track? Okay, I already covered that. Da-da-da-da. Robert, is it possible to submit a mix to the HSS Collab Facebook page? I've never submitted a mix anywhere and just wanted to get some honest feedback from anyone to make sure that I'm on the right track. Absolutely, buddy. That's exactly why I created the HSS Collab Facebook page. For that very reason. That way you can get feedback from not just myself, but from other people who will get to listen to it. And that way too, I can kind of moderate the feedback. I don't want at any point in time someone to submit a song and for someone else to just cut them down. That's not what this channel is about. If something is wrong with it, there are ways that you can tell someone how to improve without being rude or curt. There's ways that you can do that. So, as far as I would have thought you could use other images, a specific file type. Oh, for the, yeah. For those images, for the icons, yeah. I think it is, I want to say it's a PNG file. Don't quote me on that. I could try to find it real quick. I know it's not a GIF or GIF, however these kids are saying that nowadays. These kids, I tell you what. Actually, let me open up I'll open up a project here. Not that one. And then I'll try to get back to you on that one. Okay, let's open up the Ultimate Cakewalk Tutorial Course song. Okay, so Amen on the chicken, says Mark George. Oh, man. Yeah, for those of you who are in the chat that don't know about it as of yet, oh, Micah is all over it. It is a PNG, and I think the size for the file, if I'm not mistaken, has to be a certain size too. I can look at the properties right here. BMP, actually. So it has to be a bitmap file. I think a PNG will work too, though. I'm almost positive that I have used pictures of, yeah, I've used like random pictures on my desktop before, so I don't think it's like too crazy. But just in the chat right now, I'm letting you know, like, the stock icon files are 96 by 96 BMP files. But I'm almost positive, like I said, you can use pretty much anything. Country T says whiskey and cigarettes are a singer's best friend. Ooh, that's a bad combination. Can I just send individual tracks as opposed to bundles? Yes. Yes, you can. Are you talking about for the song submission for the song contest? Because if it's for the song contest, then with that being said, it just needs to be a mixed down version. So it'd be a .wave mixed down or an MP3 mixed down. Now, if you're sending something for it to get mixed or mastered by me, then yeah, if you're using Cakewalk, I would definitely recommend a bundle. And then from there, I can stem out the multi-tracks if I need them. So nothing exotic. I need to take pictures of my instruments. There's no green, telly, or silver burst. Right? Speaking of whiskey and cigarettes, any advice on quitting? I just got myself to quit. I actually was a smoker from 13 till I was 21. I was a full-blown alcoholic at 14. So I definitely know the struggle is real. I tried everything, just to be perfectly honest, that I could. There are things that can minimize that, finding other things for your hands to do or for your mouth to do, or, Micah, see you later, buddy. Take care of that dog. But what worked for me, this is going to sound cheesy to some people, but honestly, I tried everything. But what worked for me was an experience with my Creator. Whenever I found myself at an altar when I was 21 years old, I walked into the church that day an addict. I walked into the church that day an alcoholic, 2 packs of cigarettes, a smoker a day, and I walked out completely clean and have not picked it up since then. That's been 17 years now, and I have been free and clean of anything and everything. So that worked for me. If I have to say to anybody, like, what's my best advice on getting you to quit things as far as addictions and things like that? Jesus. So I know that sounds kind of like that's so cliche, but I'm being serious. It worked for me. Some of us kids went through it, brother. Yeah, this is true. So, all right. So thank you guys so much for showing up today. You guys are just awesome. I love the fact that you all are willing to jump in and submit songs. And Andre, if you're looking for maybe like some more practical approaches, then definitely you can Google it. I'm sure there's tons of stuff on Google that will help you to quit smoking. I know that's just what worked for me, honestly. Awesome. So, any chicken pickers in here? Country Tea wants to know if there's any chicken pickers. Bops Studios, don't forget, buddy, get a hold of me. Either here or on the Produce Like a Pro forum or wherever it might be, get a hold of me so I can give you a freebie for your super chat donation. You're so awesome. Thank you so much for that. You're very welcome, Mark. Thank you. Thank you guys for showing up. You know what? Speaking of which, to everyone that showed up, I want to share something with you. For those of you who have stuck it out this long, I want to share something with you. I think you're going to like this. So, coming up in the very near future, there's going to be an ultimate cakewalk tutorial course released by yours truly. It's going to be sold by Warren Hubert on his website. He reached out to me and asked me to make a in-depth tutorial on Cakewalk by BandLab. I gladly obliged. In fact, I jumped at the offer. And one of the songs from the song submission is making it into the tutorial. So, I'm not going to forget the Wheel of Awesomeness, Randall. Don't you forget about that. Don't you even forget about it. Okay, so, but what I wanted to show you was, so from those song submissions, I reached out to the daughter of one of the gentlemen who submitted one of his daughter's songs, and she gladly obliged to allow me to include her song in the tutorial. So if and when you decide to buy the tutorial, you'll get all of the multi-tracks that's displayed on your screen here. A total of 34. And what's cool about this too is this has been a collaborated effort. In other words, so we got Chris Knowles, who's been in the chat before. He helped to do drums. Marcel Walden, who helped to do a whole slew of things. He did some guitar work. He did some tambourine, even a glockenspiel, Wurlitzer, a Hammond B3. He did some mandolin, a little bit more of an acoustic as well. My buddy Jason Reeves, he did an awesome slide guitar track. Brian Barton did an awesome bass track. And all of this just came together. I say it came together. There was a lot of behind the scenes, obviously, to make it happen. But I want to play just real quickly, just a snippet of this for you. And just to kind of let you see where it's at right now. It's not, obviously it's not done. But I want to let you hear it. Now, the arrangement is not completed as of yet. There's still some things that I want to happen, but I think you're going to like this. Check this out. And you can't hear it. I think I got the output set to... Oh, that's why. Hello. All right, here we go.
You've got a sacred heart, but you don't know how to use it. Always letting strangers take it and abuse it. And you're so used to getting hurt now, it doesn't faze you. But you get kicked to the dirt, doesn't it amaze you? The things people do to feel loved. Without someone, they don't feel good enough. Don't go searching. You're supposed to be found by the right one, but you just want someone more to pick up the pieces of your heart on the ground. But you'll forget all of them when you're found. You have to.
All right. That's just a little snippet of the song that's going to be included with the Ultimate Cakewalk Tutorial course. The cool thing is you're going to get all the multi-tracks that you can download, throw them into your DAW, whatever DAW that you might use. And then the course, the whole premise of the course is not just learning Cakewalk by BandLab, but also at the very end of it, we're going to dive deep into this. We're going to go step by step, and we're going to mix the song together, get it to a point where it's going to be radio ready for release, master it to where it completely is radio ready, and then you can basically do the same thing with yours. The cool thing is as well that you're going to be able to add this to your portfolio. So you'll be able to put it on your website. You'll be able to have mixed credits on it. Whatever you want to do with it, you can remix it. As long as the artist, the lead vocal remains the same, you can do anything else to this. So very cool. Hey, James, nice to see you, buddy. He says, I enjoyed my first time in HSS. See you next time. Awesome. So glad to have you and hope you come back, man. I was looking for a cool sound effect that would accentuate this. Here we go. James, thank you for coming. Okay. That was weird. At any rate, I think you guys are really going to love the song whenever it's completed. And I know I'm digging it. We're up to 34 tracks. I had to finally quit saying, I had to finally quit adding stuff. I was getting so into it. But see you, buddy. Good having you again. Okay, so real quickly, are there any more questions before I gotta go? Because I gotta go before too long. I'm gonna go spend some time with the boy, with the wifey. She just got out of the hospital today, and 2020 has been a rock your world kind of year. I'm not even sure what's going on. Ben Grauer, what is up? Was it Wonder Green? I can't remember the name of it. I keep thinking Wonderwall music, but I don't think that's it. Anyway, Ben Grauer says, hello, Robert. Just wondering, would you welcome some actual raw studio tracks for future live events? Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Oh, yeah, I guess I could have said something rather than just saying my wife just got out of the hospital, and then, so we're not specifically sure as of right now as to what the prognosis or diagnosis is, rather, but it's pointing to she may in fact have a very mild case of Crohn's disease, but we're still praying about it. We're not going to bank on that until we got for sure hard and fast evidence. And even if that is the case, she will be fine. It's just going to be a diet change and things like that. So, but thanks for asking, Mark. I greatly appreciate that. And, okay. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, then I'm going to go ahead and kick this down a notch and say, thank you, Mark. Greatly appreciate that. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Keith just walked into the room, and you know what that means. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Good to see you again, Keith. I haven't seen you in a while, man. So, Ben, yeah, definitely. Maybe you could send me a message through Messenger. Let me kind of know what your thoughts are. And we can go from there. Like if it's some raw studio tracks that you maybe want me to mix live or something like that, that'd be kind of cool. So, Zave is on a song project. Awesome. Keep it up, man. And if you get it finished by the 25th, submit that bad boy. So that's okay, Keith. I'll forgive you. I know how it gets, man. Thank you, Zave. Greatly appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. As usual, love each and every one of you. You guys are awesome. And I'm going to continue to tell you guys that I love you, even though apparently that made someone incredibly fired up the last time I said that. And they said something, which luckily the moderator bot had caught it before it was able for you guys to see it, because it was rather rude what they said. But I'm going to still continue to tell you guys that I love you, because I do. So Tim Consley says he's working on a cover song. Right on. I don't know, Zave. I really don't know. Craig Rodmell, is this another? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have another first timer. And he says he's just starting out with Cakewalk. Awesome. Awesome, man. You are a godsend. You are one of those individuals that we love to see in here, mainly for the simple fact that that's all we pretty much do around here is work within Cakewalk by BandLab and make sure that everybody's... Keith, I'm telling you what, even if you do play Fenders, really? I don't always play Fenders. Craig, if you did not know already, there is a huge playlist. It's huge. There's a huge playlist on my YouTube channel of Cakewalk by BandLab tutorials that will walk you through nearly everything, all the way from downloading and installing it to setting it up and running with it, and getting the most out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and post a link to that in the chat right now so that you can go and check that out. And that should keep you busy for quite a few hours, if not days. There's so much in there. I think I'm up to 40 something, 30 something videos now. It's crazy. But anyway. So here's a link to that, Craig. If you want to go and check that out, that will definitely help you get up and running with the best foot forward. Randall says, my recent purchase of the PreSonus ISO Station 24C came with Studio 1.5. Now I'm struggling between Cakewalk and Studio One. Feel like I'm cheating on Cakewalk. Man, you just got to do with, whatever you got to do, whatever's best for your workflow. And I love Cakewalk. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Cakewalk lover, even though I don't have lava lamps, Keith. But at the same aspect, I still use Audacity. So that doesn't mean that I'm cheating on Cakewalk just because I use Audacity. And I use Audacity for specific reasons. Not all the time, but mainly just specific reasons. But yeah, if you find something that works better for you and improves your workflow, by all means, man, go for it. All right. So if you guys are here and you have not liked the video yet, ooh, we got more likes than we got viewers. So that's good. I'm happy with that. All right, Craig, if this is your first time here as well, we do this every week. We go live at least once a week, and we talk about all things cakewalk, music related, anything music related. We just recorded a podcast here live on the show today. And stick around. Make sure you subscribe, man, so that you know whenever I'm going to be going live again. And whenever I upload videos, tutorial videos and things like that, you'll be the first to know. So for all of you who are here all the time, yet again, I'm going to say it, regardless of the haters, love you all. Until next time, guys, remember, this channel exists to simplify the complexities of the home studio and to help you make professional sounding music in a less than professional space. We can dream alone, we can create alone, but together we can achieve so much more.